Freelancing or running your own business is not all fun and games the way most people make it out to be. It's not just about working at home, in coffee shops, or having all that time in your hands. Sure, you are your own boss, but this also entails taking charge of your own health insurance, making voluntary contributions to SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. Then there's taxes. Like employees, the self-employed are required to register with BIR for tax filing. When you apply for a tourist visa, loans for housing and cars, or even a credit card, one of the usual requirements is an income tax return, or ITR. Diligently keeping track of your taxes saves you from more problems in the long run. And perhaps it's time to check out TaxSumo. It lets freelancers, business owners, and self-employed professionals file taxes online in minutes. That way, you can focus more on your passion and stop worrying on taxes. Sign up with us at www.taxsumo.com.
Are expense reports a source of tension between employees and accounting departments? Are you missing out on input VAT credits due to unsubmitted or non-compliant expense reports? Finally, are employees just giving up and paying for company expenses themselves because the reimbursement and liquidation process is too tedious? All these are due to the time employees must take to gather receipts and file the expense report with the proper supporting documents. Then more time for your accounts team to check and verify the expense claims. OliviaBiz is an expense management app that simplifies this process by eliminating the need for manual encoding. For employees, creating an expense report is as simple as taking a photo of the receipt. For accounting departments, checking an expense item is as convenient as clicking on the link to access the image of the receipt in the cloud. Our patent-pending lip technology extracts information from the receipts and autofills expense fields including merchant name, amount, and TIN number. The app also auto-categorizes expenses to save employees time and reduce errors. Receipt not easily accessible? No problem. Say something like, Olivia, nagpa-load ako sa Aling Nena store nung Monday, 500 pesos. And the app will record and autofill expense fields. You can then upload the corresponding receipt afterwards. Once you have uploaded expenses and receipt for the period, creating an expense report is as easy as hitting send. A spreadsheet is sent to your employee's email address. Setting up is easy. Simply sign up, start telling us your requirements so that we can activate your company account. Olivia offers both convenience, speed, and efficiency. Our pricing tiers are flexible to meet your specific needs. Olivia also recognizes a wide variety of receipts. This includes thermal printed receipts, parking receipts, toll fee receipts, and digital receipts. Reports and outputs can be customized to the ERP or accounting software platform you are using. With OliviaBiz, save your company time and money and allow employees to focus on what they are good at. Schedule a demo with our customer success lead at hi@olivia.ph.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Hello, Jocs. Hi.
It's so nice to be with you this Saturday afternoon, despite the rain in Manila and
Yes.
the gloomy skies. How
And
have
the
things been
earthquake
with you?
a while ago.
And the earthquake.
Yeah,
Did you feel it?
diba? Super. Like it was so strong here. And we also
Really?
felt the aftershocks. Yes, yes. So you're in Singapore,
Wow.
right now?
Yes, I'm still in Singapore, back in Manila soon. So
Yeah.
it's also gloomy here, but yeah, I didn't realize the epicenter was so close to where you are. So I hope you're
Yeah.
okay, especially
Yes,
kung nasa building ka.
that's true. And we hope everyone watching, no, they're all safe and okay and fine after this earthquake and
Yes.
also the rains.
The rains, yeah, yeah. Okay. So today is going to be quite interesting because we're going to talk about managing money when you have multiple sources of income. And
Yes.
that's really quite a trend now. I saw some stats from GoDaddy that says that around 77% of Filipinos, not just generally in the world, um, 77% of Filipinos have a side job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, are saying that it's for, of course, to grow their wealth, to augment their day job or their incomes, but it also has other benefits. So things like, you get to learn new skills, and
Mm.
also parang na-relieve yung pressure from your day job. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
that's
Ginger, can you
true.
tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing in the Philippines and trends when it comes to having multiple jobs?
Yeah, I think this pandemic brought about like a lot of changes, no? Like before we used to go to the office and then we used to travel back and forth, no, to and fro from the office and to the office, which really like is a waste of time, diba? So normally like we commute 2 hours a day, but now since people have extra time, I've been seeing a lot of people like look for extra sources of income already, and plus the fact that obviously like some businesses are really closed, a lot of people are unemployed, sadly. Unfortunately, a lot of people are looking for jobs, no? So I've been seeing a lot of people really, and there's this new thing, diba, right now, like us as a family, we're playing Axie Infinity. So it's one of those games where you actually play to earn. So you can actually combine like your free time or your relaxing time with the family and bonding time with the family with earning as well. So yeah, and a lot of I've also been seeing a lot of streamers, a lot of bloggers, a lot of people who are creating content for other people. Yeah, so yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing really
Yep.
that people are really exploring different possibilities and different opportunities.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, so this having a day job and having side jobs, I guess, is much more prevalent now, or mas common na siya now.
Mm-mm.
But 10 years ago it was also there already, right? Although it wasn't
Yeah.
such a big thing, siguro. One, and I know you've had multiple multiple, could I call
Yeah,
it careers
businesses
or
and careers
business?
and
Yeah. Can
profession.
you tell us a little bit of some of the more interesting side jobs, or
Mm.
freelance gigs that you had?
Yeah, I've been blogging Jocs for 14 years already. I can't believe that
Wow.
I lasted that long. No, so I really started writing because I mean blogging because
Ah,
I love writing. So
right.
that led me obviously like to different platforms, no, to discover different platforms. Like since the world has really changed from the time I began. Before it was just like blogs and writing. Now you have different
Right.
platforms like Instagram for pictures, YouTube for videos, TikTok now for short video content, and all of these things, no? So it's very very interesting. So what I do is I actually write for some brands. So and I get paid for it.
Mm.
So
Yep.
yeah, that's something that I've been doing. And yeah, aside from that, obviously like we're a gaming family, so we play games. So sometimes we play games that earn us money as well. So there.
Right, right. That is so interesting. I think that's a topic for another
Yeah.
webinar, another live stream, because that is
Such a long
super
period.
interesting. Yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
what when it comes to managing finances,
Mm-mm.
what are some of the, of course, more jobs or more gigs means more money, but there's also the other side of that. So, can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you experienced, yeah, when managing money, especially when you're having so many clients, so many
Yeah.
gigs.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think one of the biggest challenges really for us, especially when you have multiple sources of income, is tracking. No? So it's really
Mm,
like, how do I separate my personal expenses and my personal income from basically the side businesses that I have? So yeah,
right.
it took a while for me to really get the groove and really decide. I think you really have to be intentional when you want to separate these things, no. So it took a while for me to be intentional about my finances, but yeah, I think it can be done. So that's one of the challenges, really. And obviously, like, the other challenge, the thing that I'm gonna discuss today, is really compliance, not tax.
Yes.
So the questions that pop up are like, when should I pay taxes? This is something that I'm passionate about. No, you
Yep.
usually start with that. This is a hobby that I want, and then it becomes a passion. You become passionate about it, so you do it frequently until the time that you profit already from it. And then you ask yourself, when should I, like, comply? When should I, like, pay taxes and all? So yeah, so we'll discuss that later.
Yes, that's true. And also, even things like, of course, related to that. I mean, when do I even start registering my business? Because that
Exactly.
obviously is also the first part of compliance. Then, so yeah, I'm really excited to talk about that with you, and I'm really excited that you're sharing all that with us. I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of our viewers now are wondering, and they may be at different stages in their gig, in their being part of the gig economy. Some are just starting to think about, oh, do I want to have other gigs? Or maybe others are already having multiple gigs and projects. So I think that would be super, super interesting. Ginger, just one more question before
Sure.
we talk about filing taxes when you have more than one source of income.
Correct. Okay.
Um, we get a lot of questions about invoicing. So,
Okay. Yeah.
um, it's not just when you are an e-commerce platform, but say may client ka, so you're doing you're a virtual assistant for a client
Mhm.
overseas. What are some of the best practices when that you've over the years have observed in terms of invoicing and billing clients?
Invoicing and billing clients. Well, it really takes okay, I'll put it in a local setting, no, in a
Mm,
more local setting, because, like, I
yeah.
know in other countries they pay quickly. But in the Philippines, I've realized that collection cycle, when I say collection cycle, no, yung tagal bago sila magbayad, no, or before they pay us, it really, like, umaabot siya like 90 days, or in my case, sometimes it takes like half a year or even a year, Jocs, here to be paid as a
Wow.
content creator. So it's a very long time. So yeah, my advice really is, like, to track it. You have to track it, because you'll never know, like, how much your receivables are, but it's very
Yeah.
important that you maximize and yeah, you maximize the funds, or you optimize the funds that you have, no. So it's best nga, diba? People say, like, it's good to invest right away so that you don't lose the value of money, diba? So yeah, in my case, just tracking first, no. You have to track, really, like how much are you supposed to receive, how much are your receivables, and all of these things. As per the documentation that should be used, local companies really use the BIR accredited official receipts and sales invoices. So if you really want bigger clients later on, you have to have, like, bigger clients there. So you have to have, sorry, you have to
Mm.
have receipts and invoices that are accredited by the BIR if you really want to be legit, no, in a sense, and big companies get you as a supplier there.
Right. So Ginger, is this like the paper receipts hindi yung, or is it the electronic receipts?
Well, both, no. Like, some companies, the
Both.
bigger ones
Okay.
especially, they register for, like, e-receipts, no, or electronic invoices with the BIR. But small businesses, they have those booklets that you get, or even as a
Yeah.
freelancer, diba, you get those booklets, because you don't have naman a lot of transactions, really. So get those booklets, the first 10 booklets. Even if you have like one or just one
Yeah, that's
transaction in a
true.
month, you have to buy the first 10, diba?
That's
We'll
true.
dive deeper later on to like in terms of like process of
Okay, awesome.
registering, what you
Yeah.
should have. No.
Okay, great,
Hi
great. So,
Marby, we have
yeah,
viewers.
great. So, right. So I think what we should do is
Yeah.
I'll hand over to you to talk about the basics of taxes and filing taxes and registering your
Mhm.
business, especially when you have multiple sources of income. And then after
Yeah.
that, I'll talk a bit about general money management. And Ginger, I welcome you to share your experiences as well when it comes to just general
Sure.
money management.
But-
And then after that, we will have Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jocs also, when I present, just feel free to like ask me questions. And also for our viewers, now, if you have questions, feel free to comment because we can see your comments anyway. So yeah, there. Okay.
Great.
Sure. We'll
So sorry,
share the.
one more
Ah,
time.
yeah, sure.
Sorry, one more thing. Just before, just a couple of announcements. So all attendees, so we have a virtual swag bag here.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so all attendees will get a 1 month free trial of the Olivia app, and we'll do a short demo later on. And you'll be able to. We've expanded that to say you will be able to scan 100 receipts in the 1 month. So that's for everyone.
Oh, I
Feeling
love it.
Oprah tayo ngayon, Ginger. So
Oh,
everybody gets
you get one. You
everybody
get one.
free
Feeling
trial of
Oprah.
Olivia app. You can scan receipts up to 100 receipts. Normally, kasi the free trial is 2 weeks and 50 receipts lang. So
Yeah.
today we're doing it for everyone who
Wow.
attends. Give us your John later on will ask for your email addresses, and you get 1 month free trial and 100 receipts. And then we will have also two more things. One is for the top 3 sharers of our webinar today, you will get a book called Money Quest. So it's a book that I wrote about
Oh,
money
nice.
management. Yeah. So it comes with an app as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the top 3 sharers will get the Money Quest book. And we have the major prizes for those who ask questions and those who give us their emails because we will share some templates with you, so you have to give us your emails para we can send the templates to you. Mag-raffle tayo doon, and also we will give out premier access for Olivia na 1 month, and this time, because these are the major prizes, it will be unlimited number of scans. So for a month, you
Wow.
can use the app kahit 100, 200 scans. That's okay. Yeah. So there. So with those few housekeeping announcements, let's welcome Ginger to share
The
filing
presentation.
taxes. Yes,
Yes.
best practices with when it comes to filing taxes for your multiple businesses and gigs.
Okay. So yeah, for this presentation, let's keep it short, no? So what I did was kami ni Jocs, we looked through like the usual scenarios or the usual questions that people would ask of us, no, when it comes to like being a mixed income individual. So let's first define like what a mixed income individual is. Because a lot of people, they get mistaken na parang, mixed income, diba yun yung maraming sources of income lang, no? So like kunwari, if I'm a blogger and then I also like let's say do graphic design. So is that like a mixed income individual? So by law in the Philippines, what a mixed income individual is that you are employed. So empleyado ka of one local company here in the Philippines, and you also have side businesses or side professions. So when we say side businesses, this can be let's say you have a water refilling station. For profession naman, you're like a blogger or a vlogger, you know. So these are the individuals that we call mixed income individuals. Okay. So as mentioned, we will share. Oh, thank you for sharing, Alina and Javi. Ayan. Yes, we will give you a copy of this. Okay, for scenario 1, I'll read it now. So Chicky has a full-time job in marketing and is also a financial advisor. She has a regular income from her company and gets commissions for insurance that she sells. Chicky is quite good at it and is able to regularly achieve her targets. She is also thinking of farming her own team. Does she really need to register herself as a financial advisor since she is already paying taxes from her full-time job? So, okay, so now you can relate, no? So this scenario one is actually very relatable to a lot of us. So, the answer to this is yes. Diba? I mentioned that you should register your side business, or I don't want to call it a side business because it's your business or profession. No? What type of business structure is what you need to ask yourself. So when we say business structure, there are a lot of different kinds of business structure. You know, from being a professional, professional. When we say professional, it's either you are a licensed professional, meaning you have a PRC license or Philippine regulatory license. For example, you are a doctor or an architect, no? So you are a licensed professional, or a non-licensed professional, which is basically our digital workers, our, let's say, videographers, photographers, all of these people who practice a service or a profession. So these are professionals. And another type of business structure is sole proprietorship. So sole proprietorship is normally used when you have basically a brick and a mortar business. So that's how it is, no? Or an e-commerce business, no? So now the law actually considers like e-commerce. A lot of the branches of the BIR and even the LGUs or local government units consider like e-commerce already as a sole prop, no? So you have to register as a sole prop. And then, or a corporation. So these are the normal business structures that you hear. Of course, you have partnerships, cooperatives, but the most usual ones that people ask are these types of business structures. No, now note that being a mixed income individual, being an employee of a company and doing this on the side, that these choices, no, has nothing to do with that. No. So your choice is really based on like, what are you doing? Are you a professional? So just to be clear, no. So these are examples. So yun nga. So are you a professional? Are you practicing a profession? Are you a sole prop? Are you selling something? Do you have a brick and mortar shop or an e-commerce store? Or are you a corporation? So normally in terms of corporation naman, there are a lot of changes now. So there's this one person corp already. There's no limit already. We used to have a limit of 5 people for a corporation, but now there's no limit anymore. But the difference really is in the long term, because when you are a corporation, the law basically creates a separate entity, no? So that's why iba ang TIN number ng iba ang TIN, no, tax identification number ng corporation, because you are hiding behind what we call a corporate veil. A corporate veil is basically, it protects your assets, no? So if you plan to loan big amounts in the future and you feel like you don't want to mix yung personal assets mo with a business, then you open a corporation. Another instance when you might want to open a corp is if you are seeking for investors later on because you have to give out equity. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, why won't I open a corp? Because it's more tedious. There are a lot of requirements when it comes to like documentation. Magbukas ka lang ng a bank account, kailangan mo ng SecCert, board resolution, lahat ng yung members of your corporation have to sign. So it's more tedious than opening a sole proprietorship. And it's more tedious also when it comes to compliance. No? So really depends on you. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it really depends on your choice. Okay? So in terms of like the government entities that you go through, professional, you have to go through LGU to get a barangay occupational tax receipt and a barangay clearance. And then you go to the BIR directly. But you'll notice for sole prop, partnership, and corporation, sole prop, you have to get the name with the DTI. And then partnership, the name naman with the SEC, partnership and corp with the SEC. And then all of you still go to LGU. And then all of us still go through BIR. So yung naka-blue dyan, now lahat tayo, we have to go through is BIR, right? So that's a thing that's constant when it comes to visiting the government office. So okay, so now for scenario 2, I hope like I'm shedding light to some of your questions already, no? So for scenario 2, Anna has a day job as an accountant. During the weekend, she loves to bake. Ang galing naman ni Anna, very talented. And she is quite good at it. Her friends started ordering from her. Then she became well known in the area. So she started from like baking cakes for parties from 200 pesos a weekend in net profit. Now she earns around 10K to 15K. So a coffee chain with outlets wanted to get her now as a supplier. When should Anna incorporate her business and start filing taxes? Only when she gets the coffee chain contract or when she was doing the birthdays and events. The minute you start, by law, the minute you start getting income, you have to already declare taxes. And you know what? Personally, no, I mean, I'm not defending the government or something, no, but personally, based on my own personal experience, it was easier for me to track all of my business income and expenses because naayos ko siya from the start. And it really brought me peace of mind. Kasi, alam mo yun, if you start late in the game, you'll always have that question in your mind na, should I have started before? Masisita kaya ako? Masisilip kaya ako? Diba? You'll always have those questions in your mind and it won't bring you peace of mind. Diba? So instead of focusing on the business, you're focusing now on worrying about compliance, you're focusing about worrying about will they see will I have penalties later on? So for me, it's really starting the right way. No, you have to start the right way. And some of our clients in Taxumo, no, what they do is they register so that wala nang atrasan. So they make it like sort of like an accountability partner. Their documents as an accountability partner because if they register, then there's no turning back. It's let's make this big, diba? So that's how they like view their registration and compliance now. So, but there, so if I were you though, but by law, it's really like if you earn income, then you have to pay your taxes. And there are benefits naman, no? Like you have, what I've mentioned kanina when we were doing the intro Jocs, like they can get bigger clients because obviously the big local companies need to get official receipts from you or even invoices from you, diba? And then you can also leverage loans. The thing about the Philippines is we don't really talk about credit scores, not at this point in time, but later on, that will be a big deal. The reason why you get loans that are with high interest rates, it's because you can't present any document. People can't vet if you really can pay them, diba? But that's why if you have a collateral, mas mababa yung interest rate.
Yeah.
But kung wala kang collateral, then wala, diba? Mataas. And lalo na if wala kang ITR or income tax return. So there. And then you can also get a visa. So if you plan to travel later on, that's one of the requirements. And then you can also avail of government programs because you're on their list, obviously. And you can avoid tax penalties. So there. So this one, I just placed it here so that for people who are interested to know like the steps and the process, I won't go through the entire like all of the steps and processes now. But if you want a copy of this, we will give it to you. I think Olivia, the people from Olivia can share it with you naman.
Yes,
so
definitely.
so it's really going through like first, if you're a professional or a sole prop, most of us kasi are that, no? So initial registration steps would be going through DTI and then LGU and then BIR. And then when you are in the BIR, the final steps is really like getting your official receipts, getting your books of accounts stamp, getting your certificate of registration, no, COR, and the ATP. ATP is for printing kasi the receipts. So those four things, no. So this is what a COR looks like. So you will know if you are registered with the BIR if you have this paper. No, it's sometimes blue, sometimes yellow, depending on what they release. So this is called the Certificate of Registration or Form 2303. The reason why this is very important, it's like your profile with the BIR. So what you see here, are the types of taxes that you need to pay. And obviously your information, no, from your address to industry to the TIN number. And usually if you're a sole proprietorship or a professional, it's still your TIN number. Okay, so hindi siya nagpapalit. The only time that it changes is really if you have a corporation. So there. So this document is very important. Okay, so let's go to scenario 4. So Anna has a salary from her full-time job, which is 20,000 pesos monthly. Her baking business in 2020 had a total revenue of 150K. Expenses are at 80 and net income is at 70. The company where she works as an accountant will give her a 2316 form. A 2316 form is basically what your employers give you. If you want to know if you are an employee, they give you a 2316. If you are an independent contractor or a consultant, or if they treat you as a project hire, they give you a 2307 form. Okay, so that's 2316 for employee, 2307 for independent contractor. Okay, the question is, will she need to declare taxes for her side business? What taxes will she need to pay? Okay, yes, definitely you need to pay your taxes. And the misconception for a lot of people in the Philippines is, di ba once a year lang po ako magbabayad ng tax? Di ba annual income tax lang? No, I'm so sorry to burst your bubble, but you don't pay taxes just once a year here, and we have multiple types of taxes. No, so let's go through it one by one. So business taxes, before we go into the details, business taxes is basically what you call your sales tax. So it's either you are a non-VAT entity or a VAT entity. And the main difference between being a VAT entity is that you are earning 3 million above, no, in terms of gross revenue or gross receipts or gross sales in a year. Okay, so below that, you are a non-VAT entity. Okay, so if you feel that upon registration, I think I can make more than 3M this year, then go for VAT already. But if you think na, I'm not sure, I'm testing the waters, like kanina yung baking business, no, that got a contract, maybe dun mo na siya sa non-VAT. No? So trying to test it out first. And then you have the popular tax, which is called the income tax return. The reason why it's popular, because a lot of countries also have their annual income tax form or annual income tax return forms filing on April 15. So this is what we know, diba, yung tax na to. But here in the Philippines, income taxes is paid or filed on a quarterly basis. So same also as if you're not a non-VAT entity, you'll later on realize that percentage tax is also paid quarterly, while VAT is paid monthly. Okay, so we're going through frequencies. And then we have what you call the expanded withholding tax. Now, expanded withholding tax is basically the company who pays you, they withhold taxes from your pay. So they are a withholding tax agent. The reason why BIR created this ecosystem where they sort of tell companies na, oh, be a mini BIR for us and withhold taxes from all of the expenses that you make. No? So they pay a portion of it, while the person receiving it, for example, I receive payment from a big company that withheld from my payment, I receive a form called 2307, di ba? Yung kanina, like independent contractors, and then I still have to pay my taxes, my share of taxes, because the company only withholds a certain amount. So that's withheld taxes. So if you can see that whole ecosystem, no, this whole tax ecosystem works around that, the withholding tax system, wherein everyone is basically connected. No? Like a person pays, sometimes kasi we get questions, paano nalaman ng BIR na meron akong good na ganito or racket na ganito? Maybe the company who hired you actually paid withholding tax. And then they submit kasi a list of all of that. And then you were part of the list. So nalaman ng BIR that you were actually paid. So there. And then the last one is withholding tax and compensation. This is the withheld taxes that is paid by the employer for the employee. So as simple as that, no? So there. So in terms of business taxes, VAT, as you can see, this, I will give this to you as a guide. So this is the frequency. So you'll see below the boxes. So it's the forms are also there. They call it different forms there because sometimes for each type of tax, there are different kinds of form numbers. No, so you don't have to memorize the form numbers, but basically you just need to know the frequency. So normally VAT is on a monthly basis. It's there naman indicated kung ano yung forms. And then how you compute VAT is your output tax, meaning yung pinatong mong 12% for your sale, di ba? You always add 12%, less the input tax, meaning the 12% naman of the purchases that you have. So for example, National Bookstore, you bought a book, for example, and then that's a business expense, for example, minus 12%, yung 12%, I mean, may 12% doon, that is called input tax. So yung pinatong mo versus yung mga 12% na binili mo. So there. And then for percentage tax, it's also on a quarterly basis. If you are, again, earning below 3 million gross earnings in a year. Now with Create, there's this new tax reform bill, no, which is called Create. In Create, 3% yung percentage tax before, they dropped it already to 1%. So this is only until, para may promo period, until 2023. So they're trying to encourage people to start and explore businesses. There. And then let's go to income tax. So income tax naman, the thing with income tax is there are different income tax rates. So the most basic one is this new thing called 8%. 8% was just introduced in 2018. And what it says is that you just pay 8% of your gross earnings every quarter. No? But the thing with, what do you call that? The thing with income tax is it's accumulative. So from January to March, you pay May. And then from January to June, you pay August. So you have to adjust. So medyo complicated kasi ang income tax when it comes to like computation. No? So that's how it is. And all of us, no, regardless of the tax rate, we have an exemption of 250K. So what does that mean? Because 250, parang all of us, before kasi we had to declare our dependents to get more exemptions, diba? So you don't pay taxes if you have more kids. Pero right now, the law made it easier. Okay, everyone, whatever man your husband is, let's say, doing side businesses also, ikaw, you're doing side businesses, all of us get 250K. So until 250K, you just file 0. But note, you have to file, ha? It's not like, hindi pa ako 250, I won't file. No, you still have to file because you will incur penalties if you don't file. So there. So these are the two types naman of, the other type is called graduated. So the other one is 8%, diba? And this one naman is called graduated income tax rate. So for graduated income tax rate, the reason why it's called graduated income tax rate, because the computations are based on a graduated table. So pag paakyat ng paakyat, yung kinikita mo, paakyat ng paakyat din yung tax rate. Okay? So that's why it's called graduated income tax rate. But how you treat your expenses, there are two ways to treat it. One is called itemized. I'll just put it in simple terms now. Like pag itemized, all of the expenses that you declared as business expenses will be considered when you are computing for your income tax dues. Okay? But for OSD just says that BIR, 40% of my gross earnings are my expenses. You don't have to see my breakdown, basta I choose OSD. Okay? So for these tax rates, whether 8%...
Ginger, sorry. What does OSD stand for?
Okay. Sorry. Optional Standard Deduction. Yes.
Okay.
So that's what...
And 40% yon.
40% of your
40%.
gross receipts, yes, are basically your expenses. You're telling BIR, yan, 40, wag ka na makialam, parang ganon. So, basta 40% of my income, my revenue are my expenses. So, whether it be, just to note now, whether it be 8% ang pinili mo, or graduated itemized, or graduated OSD, so basically 3 choices, diba? You will have to choose this at the start of the taxable year for you. You cannot switch from one to the other na parang June, kunwari calendar year, yung taxable year mo. June, parang feeling mo, ay, feeling ko mag-OSD na lang ako. Hindi pwedeng ganon. So you have to carry it out through the entire taxable year. So just to note that so that you
Pero
know.
Ginger, what if next year mag-decide, so now naka 8% flat rate ako.
Yes.
Pero next tax filing, sabi ko, mag-OSD na lang kaya ako or mag-itemize ako. Is that possible to change?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Alright.
it is possible to change. But note no, for corporations or for VAT entities, kasi for VAT entities, you're not allowed to get the 8% flat rate. So para lang yun sa non-VAT because it was created for small businesses talaga.
Right.
Yes. So there.
So does it mean, Ginger, na if I think my expenses will be more than 40%, mag-itemize na ako? Or not necessarily?
Yes, pag for more
than 40%.
More than 40, yes, you have to go itemize. We'll show them examples dito sa next part, no?
Okay.
Because the next part are some tax hacks. So tama ka, Jocs. It's a nice question to lead on to this because a lot of people say, saan ba ako makakatipid? Di ba? Pagdating sa taxes. And it's usually because of the tax rate that you choose. So in Taxumo, we have actually a recommendations. We have this machine learning capability wherein we tell the customer, syempre based on the declared revenue and expenses, the more real it is. I'm telling you this because that's a fact, no? Because a lot of us, hindi natin nilalagay yung real natin. But the more real it is, the more accurate it will tell you, like, where should you go? Like, which tax rate should you use? So we have that capability in Taxumo. So, okay, let's start first with this number one tax hack. So make sure your clients are withholding the right rate for you. Okay, so before, most of the non-licensed professionals, yung mga digital workers natin, no? If they have local clients, automatic nagwi-withhold ng 10%. But actually, they can just ask for 5%. Withhold lang kayo ng 5%. Ganon. Kasi if you are registered, this is if you are registered, you have a certificate of registration, and you have a sworn statement. So there's a template released by the BIR. So these are for individuals who are earning less than 3 million gross revenue, which are non-VAT entities, and for corporations, that's the 750K per year gross. So make sure that you, sayang kasi, diba, we were talking about the value of money. When you can actually get a bigger chunk of it, right now, you can invest it, diba? And if they withhold it like 10%, then sayang yung time spent.
Yeah,
for
true.
that. Okay, next is tax hacks for optional. This is your question. So if your expenses is greater than 40%, choose itemize. Laging ganyan or else OSD. So let's give you an example. So in this example, the expenses is less than 40%, no? So income mo, let's say, is 1 million, expenses mo is 20,000 pesos lang. Taxable income mo when it's itemized is at 184,000 versus OSD, which is at 80,000 lang. So you actually save 104,000. So malaking difference really. So this is where you really save, no, when you choose the right option. Now, so there. So for this next example, let's say naman 1 million, pero it's above 40%. Diba 40% is 400,000. So this expenses niya is at 650,000. You'll see, pag itemize, you only pay 20,000. And then, yung pag OSD, you pay 80,000. So, ito yung so malalaman mo yung mga friends mong itemize kasi sila yung kumukuha ng mga resibo. Sila yung humingi ng resibo from you. Akin na lang to. Pag kumakain kayo outside, diba? So, they get the receipts. So, don't worry about it. We have a calculator on Taxumo. Just copy that link. TXM thru.co/is8better. So what you do is you input your income and expenses because, as I mentioned yesterday to Jocs, it's really a case-to-case basis. No? So I don't know your expenses. Even if you ask me, anong mas okay, Ginge? Kasi ito yung negosyo ko. I wouldn't know because you are the one who is tracking your revenue and your expenses. So use that calculator na lang so that you know which is better. And then for individuals who don't know, you can actually pay your annual income tax in 2 installments, at least 50% for the first payable. And then the second is you pay the remaining na lang by October. And then another tax hack. People forget that there are attachments. So they're called attachments for your filings. So for your 1701, 1701Q, normally for individuals, we're talking about individuals kasi 1702 yung corp, which meron din naman sila attachments, no? But this one, meron kang SAWT or Summary Alpha List of Withheld Taxes. That's a list of the companies who paid you na merong 2307 forms that they give you, no? So you have to list all of those down and submit it again to the BIR. And then for EWT, if you are a withholding tax agent, you have to submit a quarterly alpha list of payees or QAP. And then for VAT, you have to submit SLSP on a quarterly basis as well. And then this is my last few tips for tax hacks, no? So the common mistake also is, if wala akong kinikita, I don't need to pay. That is not true. If wala kang kinakita, you have to still file. Obviously, you don't have to pay because it's zero, but you still have to file. And if you're not filing, because my client withheld for me, so maraming mga let's say mga insurance agents or let's say content creators who get parang wini-withholdan yung kanilang pay, so they think, ay, nagbayad na ako ng tax. No, that is not the case. Your client only pays a portion of it. You have to pay still most of it, no? So, I mean, a part of it. So for Taxumo, just quickly, yes, Jocs.
Yes, no, actually, I was also going to say that because there's so many things to remember and so many numbers, form numbers, but actually they don't have to memorize and know all that because, in fact, Taxumo can help them do this, right? All they need to do is give them all the information. And then Taxumo does all the books of accounts and all that, right? So yeah, if you can share with us how that works.
Yeah, so we're not a service, for contrary to what people think, no, we're a service, manually namin ginagawa. Taxumo is actually a system. So Taxumo is a system that works on any browser. It conforms to your phone as well because it's mobile responsive. So all you need to do is just enter your income and expense, and then may real-time calculation na. And then after that, we easily fill out the forms for you because there are no forms really, no. So the data is really passed on to BIR. We are an accredited TSP or tax service provider by the BIR. And then you can also quickly pay online. So we have GCash, PayMaya, GrabPay, online banking, mobile banking, non-banks even, if you have like a branch near your home, no. So you can do that. But all of the payments are there already, so it's very convenient. And then it also like creates online books of accounts, which you can copy to your manual books. Kasi may manual books kanyan eh. So the BIR always like requires you to still write on that books. Kasi pag nahuli kang hindi yan updated, they penalize you for it. So you just copy. It's very easy to copy kasi naka-format na siya in the way that you need to copy it. And then if you have questions, now we have CPAs to guide you. This is the machine learning capability that I was telling you about, Jocs, that it tells you what tax rate to go with, no?
Yeah.
And then you can also monitor your accounts and share it with your, let's say you have co-founders, no, or business partners. You can give them delegate access, or even if you have an accountant, you can give it to them, no, so that you guys can work on it together. For those without accountants, or if you want to ask them questions, no, about anything actually, with regard to your like accounting problems, we have what we call Taxumo Consult. It's in our website. You just look for Taxumo Consult there. If you have questions naman about the system, we have customer advocates who are online 9 to 6 weekdays. So you can basically chat with us anytime, and they will be helpful. And we also have onboarding sessions, no, which are done on a day-to-day basis. I think meron naman kami almost every day, which is free, by the
Great.
way. They don't need to pay for that.
Oh, wow.
Other services, registration. So I know a lot of people are asking about registration. So we can help. We have partners, not us now, but we have partners really who can help you register. We are trying to build up our list of partners who are based around the Philippines, because it's very manual. It's still a very tedious process, no? And then we also have SSS and Pag-ibig. PhilHealth wala pa in our platform, but SSS, you can pay voluntary contributions. Pag-ibig, you can pay Pag-ibig voluntary contributions as well. For SSS, even if you're a company, you can actually pay for your employees as well. So we also have that. But for Pag-ibig, hindi pa for employers. So yes, so in terms of like how much Taxumo is, so on a monthly basis, these are our plans. So for 8%, it's 888. And then for graduated, no, usually with may withholding tax current kung meron 1888. And for VAT entities, it's 2888. Pero these prices like drop if you get longer durations. So for example, like if
Mm.
it's um if it's like 2 years, oops, sorry, where was it? There. If it's 2 years, it drops to around 399, I think, for the 8%. Yeah. So you can look at the pricing at our page. So super, ano naman siya, super sulit siya. So there, I think that's it, Jocs, for my
Okay, now that's
one.
thank you so much, Ginger. That's super comprehensive, and you answered a lot of questions. In fact, I was looking at some questions on Facebook, and some you've already answered already.
Yeah.
But what we will do is we will take their questions. Yeah, Elena was saying, "Wow, parang all-in-one na po si Taxumo about business matters." Yes, that is actually true. Kasi,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go, si Elena.
Yeah, and meron din kaming you'll later on see that we'll have this integration with Olivia as well. So
Yes.
if you want to use their app, no, so yeah, you can basically download a file from Olivia and later on just upload it in Taxumo.
Yes, so reduce pa even more yung
Yeah.
manual entry, right? Okay. No,
Yes.
that's great. Actually, I also have some questions, but maybe I'll ask it later. We'll we'll move to a next. I'll just share a few things about managing your money generally when you have multiple sources of income, and then we'll go to the questions from our viewers.
Okay.
So John will help me share my slides. I really love your hacks, Ginger, and I love yung AI nyo na will identify the savings where they can, be more tax efficient. That is super
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think my question dito while waiting for that, is it a 24/7 service? Well, for customer service, 9 to 6, we are on business hours, no? So we always recommend to our users to sort of encode their things early, prepare their filings earlier than the date kasi makikita mo naman yung deadlines doon eh. So for example, ako, like I'm very diligent when it comes to like deadlines. Ayoko nagpapanik ako or nasa-stress out ako like pag malapit yung deadline. So if I see na, okay, since Taxumo's date is earlier by 2 days from the BIR's date, no? So like let's say 23rd, meron kasing 25th na deadline. So ako, beginning pa lang ng month, inaayos ko na siya. So, para at least wala na akong iniisa pagdating ng deadline. But in terms of kung masasagot agad, yes. Basta within those working hours naman. Lina. Yeah. Lina.
Okay.
There.
Great.
Yay!
Okay. Thank you so much, Ginger. And so I'm going to share just some tips also in managing more than one income, because the reality is, yes, you have more money, so you can lakwatsa more, or you can travel, you can eat out more, you can go shopping more, but the reality also is that your income fluctuates. When I was younger, I've always had more than one job. So when I had my full-time job in the Philippines, at night I was actually a newscaster for, at that time it was Channel 13. So
Oh,
meron akong
wow.
so anyway, na carbon date na ako sa super tagal. And then also I was at one time I was also doing editing of scientific papers naman. So I feel rich kasi mas marami akong pera apart from just my day job. But I noticed that my income fluctuates. And anything that fluctuates, yung up and down, is not good. One, for your lifestyle, and also for your stress levels. So these are just some things that we'd like to share with our audience. So number one, John, next slide. Sorry, why is fluctuating income a problem? I think that's the more important thing, the basic thing that we should tackle. Okay, so next slide, please. Yeah. So when you have a regular fixed income, your salary is 15,000, then you have expenses, groceries, transport, eat out, shopping, total mo is 15,000 then. So it's quite simple. Your life is simple. The main challenge for you is paano ba na I will stick to my 5,000 na grocery, or hindi ako mag-exceed na 2,500 sa shopping. So that is, there are different problems with that, pero at least it's straightforward. I know what I'm going to get, so I know what I can spend for that month. Yeah. The challenge here, of course, is maybe you don't have enough money for other goals, or, wala kang savings masyado. Yeah. So you decided, okay, I will get another side job, or I'll have another business. So if we go to the next slide, so suddenly, next slide, please. Oops. Okay, medyo tumatakbo yung slides. But essentially what happens is that your income increases. So in January, instead of 15,000 lang, meron ka na nakakuha ka ng 8,000 from your side job, so your total income is 23. February, may 15,000, that's constant. And then may side job ka na hindi 8,000 pero 5,000, so naging 20,000. So most of the time, meron kang extra income from your side job or side business. Pero if you notice, iba-iba yung value niya. 8,000 one month, 5,000 another month. Yung March, na wala kasi siguro you were so busy and you were not able to look for clients. And then April, you started looking na naman, pero it's still not as high as other months. So as you can see, from 23, nagiging 15, nagiging 17,500. So your income fluctuates. Now, what does it mean? So next slide. Can we show the next? Yep. What happens? Wow, talagang tumatakbo yung slides. Yeah. So what happens is that yung expenses mo, mas mahirap. So, ang nag-decide ako kasi, okay, feeling rich ako. So, after 2 months, okay, after a few months, sabi ko, marami na akong pera, I will buy a car. So, I decide to spend 5,000 a month on my car loan. So, naging expenses ko now is 19,000. Kasi, and the problem is, yung car loan ko is, I have to pay it regardless of whether or not I have extra income from my side job. So what will happen is January, okay ako kasi plus 4,000 kasi I have 23,000 and my expenses are 19,000. So including yung 5,000 na car loan ko. So surplus pa ako or sobra pa ako ng 4,000, that's okay. If we go to the next slide. So February, let's see what happens. Yeah, okay pa rin kasi 20,000 and my expenses are 19,000. So may excess pa rin ako ng 1,000. Let's see what happens in March. So sa March, next slide, okay, bigla nang nag-red kasi 15,000, hindi wala kang side job, but your car loan is still there. Hindi ka na makaka-atras. Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin sa financing company na, sir, well, hindi mo na ako magbabayad ngayon kasi kulang yung that it doesn't happen that way. So nag-negative 4,000. And then sa April, meron ka nakuha na side job pero it's still not enough. So negative 1,500. And then, so now negative 5,500 ka na. And then May, what happens is, okay, plus 4,000. The problem is negative 5,500 ka pa rin. So you can see the roller coaster na nangyayari here, right? So from super happy and relaxed in Jan, Feb, na-stress ka bigla sa March and April, and May, okay, medyo okay ka na. But still, since the experience mo na what happens na, wow, hindi ko mabayaran yung utang ko, na yung car loan ko for 2 months, it kind of leaves a very stressful feeling for you. So that is what you want to avoid. So, and I'm sure, I mean, this has happened to me, and I'm sure it has happened to a lot of people. So what do we do about it? John, can we go to the next slide? So the best practice or hack number one. So once you start getting a side job or increasing your income, as long as it's still fluctuating, avoid muna tayo yung mag-upgrade kaagad ng lifestyle. Or kung mag-upgrade, wag mo masyadong malaki yung upgrade. So wag naman masyadong, okay, bili na tayo ng kotse. Maybe upgrade by in steps. So maybe mag-holiday muna tayo within the Philippines, right? Because at least if you spend on that holiday now, next month, wala naman yun. And then you can adjust your spending based on kung ano yung, how much money you get from your side jobs. Yeah. So yes, avoid upgrading your lifestyle immediately. Allocate ka muna ng a certain amount, doesn't have to be everything, to your savings or building an emergency fund. That's number one. Number two, next slide, please. Okay. So this is quite important, and this is really the core of the problem. We cannot treat all income sources equally. Kasi you have your stable or your fixed income from your 9-to-5 job, and then you have your variable income or income na nagpa-fluctuate from your side job or side business. Now, you cannot just treat them as one total income. Yes, eventually you will. But when you are budgeting or planning for the lifestyle that you want to live, you cannot treat them the same. So you need to match your income source with the type of expense. So what do we mean by that? So John, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so total income divided to regular and what we call variable income. If you go to the next slide, what we have to do is i-match natin. So okay, we can press the space bar. Yeah, okay. So yung regular and fixed income, let's match it to the essential expenses. So what are the essential expenses? So yung food, transport, rent, all your loan repayments na or anything insurance payments na hindi pwedeng masablay every month. So kailangan every month essential expenses yun. So kung nagbibigay ka ng allowance sa family or you're supporting someone, essential expense din yan. So that is what you match with your regular or your fixed income. And then your variable income from your side job or side business, i-match mo siya sa non-essential expenses. So travel, yung eat out na hindi necessary or pwede mo i-cut back pag wala kang masyadong side job or side business, luxury food, home renovations, and splurge shopping, all of that should go sa variable income. Right? Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So yeah. So
that's true, Jocs. You know what? Like in our family as well. Like EJ and I, if we want to travel, we make it a point that we look for a business. Parang ganon. We don't really put it sa fixed income. Yeah, we strive really to look for gigs. Yeah.
Correct, exactly. So now back to the case in our first example. So paano kung gusto kong bumili ng kotse? With my and I know my regular income is still 15,000, right? And that's a very real scenario, no? So what you could do is that from your variable income, similar to what EJ and Ginger are doing, ipon muna sila from the variable income, right? And then pag may enough ka na to buy that car, then you can purchase that car, but at least meron ka ng amount in your funds na naka-allocate for paying for that car loan. So it's the point is that save mo muna all that amount from your variable income and then you can spend it. Okay, because at least hindi ka nagpapan. See, what we're trying to avoid here is that you are stressed. money
Yeah.
can be a source of stress for a lot of people. And the fact that you have a day job, or maybe you even have three side jobs, or two, three businesses, that in itself is stressful. So what we don't want to happen is madagdagan yung stress niyo. So make sure that you're matching regular income to essential expenses and variable income to non-essential expenses. Okay, so the next, if you go to the next slide, okay, so what we will also have, what we prepared for you also is what we call a lifestyle plan. This is a template. Remember, we are not calling it a budget kasi scary when we talk about budget. Parang diet, parang we're saying no, 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 right? But let's call it a lifestyle plan because it's a plan for you to live the life that you want, right? So this one, we will actually send to you these templates and you can just print it out and fill it up yourself. But essentially, ang ginagawa dito is yung ima-match, may two columns yan, diba? So you have your fixed income, tapos sa baba niya, what are your fixed expenses? And then your variable income, and then match as variable expenses. So what we will do is, because time is a little tight today, we will create another video teaching you how to fill up this lifestyle plan, and then we will share it with you as well as together with the nuggets from Ginger's presentation today. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, I think this is another, okay, so this is another template that goes with your lifestyle plan. And again, we'll share it with you once you give us your email. Okay, and if you go to the next slide, okay, best practice number 3, and this really takes from what Ginger has been saying earlier. We really advise that you track your project and business expenses. So your expenses for your side job, side business, you need to track it for tax purposes, but also for you to know whether, okay, all this energy that I'm spending on, side job or side business, does it make sense? Yeah.
True.
And allocate them to the right place. Yeah. And this is a reality that because a lot of times our side jobs are also our passion. So we tend to think na kasi nag-enjoy naman ako. That is also perfectly fine, yeah. But you just need to make sure na nagbabangga yung expenses with what you're making from your side business. Yeah, Ginger, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I agree with yung second point. No? It's not really about compliance, no. It's really about like, are you able to sustain this later on if you want to? No? If you plan to sustain this business or this profession, will you be capable enough, like financially capable enough to do so? Because this, diba, people say businesses are not charity, diba? Hindi siya charity case na kailangan mo na ano lang, because nag-enjoy ka, it's fine, no? But for you to basically give value and amplify the impact that you want, you need funds, you need money, no? So you have to be intentional about all of these things. Yeah.
Yes. No, I like the words you used, Ginger. Your value, you need to make sure that you are giving value, and to make sure that you're giving value, you need to be sustainable, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is being intentional. It's true that it doesn't happen by accident. Having a successful business doesn't happen by accident. It's very intentional. Yes, hard work is part of that, but being intentional about what you do, how you allocate your time. And sometimes, when you tracking also allows you to decide on which projects to say yes to and which projects to say no to, right?
Yeah.
Diba? So, yeah. Okay, so how do you track business expenses? I think if we go to the next slide, we have a demo. Okay, so one is an income tracker, and I won't go through it now, but we'll share it as well in the templates that we will send to you. Okay, and if we go to the next slide, okay, so I'm just going to give you a tool. So Olivia, what we do is we automate expense management, and I'm going to show you how the app works, because there was one question on FB kanina of how Olivia works as well. So, okay, so John, can we show that? Oops. Aha. I think, John, that's a video. Wala bang video? Okay. Maybe while we're waiting, huh? Okay, I think we have hit a technical issue.
Yeah, maybe, no?
Yeah, let me just check. There's a message. Okay, the video isn't there. I'll try to find a way to access it and show it maybe in a few minutes. But essentially, those are the things that I wanted to share when it comes to managing your income. So make sure that that you are tracking. Make sure that you are separating your fixed versus your variable expenses and match them with your income. And the number one, I think, was really all about not upgrading your lifestyle immediately. Gradually upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there. What we can do now, or what we should do now, is answer some of your questions.
Yeah,
So,
let's go through them.
right. Okay. So
Okay.
here's one from Jevi.
So I worked for almost 10 years in a manufacturing company. I resigned and is now a full-time VA. Okay, as well. This is very interesting. Thanks for the information. May sample computation po ba kayo kung kung possible, magkano ang babayaran ng isang freelancer? Thanks po. Well, just to give you an idea, the simplest as I mentioned, no, it's 8% if you're going for that 8% tax rate. I mean, that's the simplest tax rate. So, isipin mo na lang na lahat ng kinikita mo, 8% really goes to the government. So, that's like, sort of to put it in simpler terms, kasi you have to track nga your expenses and your income, no? So, yeah, so I hope that answers your question. So, just in terms of pricing yourself, just think of that way, no? And if you go beyond 3 million later on, obviously yung 12% naman yon, patong yon sa fees mo, patong yon sa you'll have to top it up dun sa freelance services mo, so sa freelance pricing mo. There, thanks for that question, Javi. Siguro let's go to the next. For Taxuma po, need pa din po ba mag-apply ng tax kapag di naman regular yung gig, freelance work? Kapag parang kapag minsan lang merong gig, let's say 2 to 3 gigs for a month lang. Yeah, I think you should. I think you should pa rin. It's still the best practice no, when it comes to that. Kasi, Elena, if wala ka namang kita, let's say, for a particular month, zero naman yung tax juice mo eh. So you don't have to worry about it. People say kasi, like, people scare other people, no? Like, say na malaki, mataas, lagi yung taxes, no? But, no, it's really understanding that in times na wala kang income, wala kang babayarang tax, but you need to file, definitely. Nagkakaroon lang naman ng penalties if you forget to file, definitely, no? Kasi nakalimutan mo mag-file, eh, so ipe-penalize ka. But I think the rates naman, I mean, it's very forgiving. So until 250,000, you just file, no? Zero. So yeah, it allows you to grow your freelancing work, no? Your freelancing profession. There, thank you for that. Yes.
Ginger, I have a follow-up question for this.
Sure.
For Elena. So what kind of, ano ba mga example ng expenses as a freelancer na pwede nating i-file?
Okay. So the rule is really, it should be under your business. It should be under your professional name because you're a freelancer. Normally, sa resibo mo naman is your full name, no? So anything that is under your full name, let's say, Ginger, pwede kaya ang electricity. It's under my name, no? If it's not under your name, malabo siya because the auditors or the BIR auditors will always look at that. No? So it should be under your name. Normally, if it's above 1,000 pesos, it should be under your name and not just the tape receipt. So if possible, no? So dapat ganon. And if electricity, you can declare naman half of it. Kasi let's say, ginagamit mo yung electricity mo, nasa bahay ka lang, half of it goes to personal use, half of it goes to business use. Then you declare half of it. Parang ganon. So even your mobile phone, for example, if it's under your name, if you use it for personal and for business, half of it you can declare for business, half of it you can declare for personal. I mean, sa personal na yan, you don't have to declare it, no? So ganon siya. So anything obviously that you can defend that is related to your business. So yung mga
Right.
tuition fee ng mga anak natin, hindi natin pwede ilagay as business
What
expense
about my
na.
Canva subscription, Ginger?
Yeah, pwede yan. Pwede
Pwede
yan.
yan.
It's, but for VAT kasi hindi siya qualified for input tax. Yung mga foreign services like that. Yes.
Even
Yeah.
Spotify and all that. hindi
Yeah.
po.
Yeah, but
But
meron
for
namang
example-
foreign services. Yes, you can declare it as foreign services expense. Basta
for
may
example,
invoice ka. Go
I
ahead. Go
see.
ahead.
So, what if bumili ako ng mouse for my equipment for my freelance business? Pwede yun, no?
Office, yeah, pwede yun. Office supplies, yes. If you,
Okay.
most of the time, you use it for business anyway, yeah, you can declare that. A laptop can also be declared. Yeah, it really depends on what kind of business you have there. Like, for
Right.
example, groceries, let's say, like before, I used to have an events management business. So
Right.
I can defend that I have to put groceries because I buy stuff from the grocery for my business, diba? So basta nakapangalan under my trade name. I have a sole prop kasi.
Okay.
So ganon. So it should be related lang to your business talaga.
Correct. Yeah, as long as it makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to ask another question that maybe not directly related to Elena, but someone was asking me last week actually. So for financial advisors, because sometimes, or especially during pre-pandemic, they have these incentive trips, right? So she has a day job and then meron financial advisor din siya, so she gets commission. So the commissions obviously are taxable, right? Now, what about yung incentive trip? In two scenarios. One, kung the actual trip na pumunta sila, wala siyang nakuha na cash. Or what if, kasi now during the pandemic, they couldn't really travel. So what the company has done is give them the cash equivalent. So maybe binigyan sila ng 100,000 pesos instead of a trip to Hong Kong, for example. So are both taxable or
it
not?
really depends kasi on how the company who paid them declared it. So if kasama siya dun sa 2307 form nila, they have to declare it. Na para, diba? So ganun siya. So
could it qualify as, because I've seen some regulation na employers can give gifts to their employees. Could it qualify under that, gifts na hindi siya taxable?
but they're not employees kasi.
Yeah, you are right. That's true.
Yeah. So that's the
tricky part.
So it really depends. I can't generalize talaga, no. So you have to ask, maybe you can ask your client kasi in that case, even if you sort of like work under like an insurance company, they're not your employer. So you have to ask like, should I declare this? Just to be safe, no? Pero ako, I always err on the safer side. If you are not sure, regardless of what scenario it is, always declare. Yun yung sa akin. I mean, that's the safest way to go talaga.
True. Okay. Great. So any more questions okay. Right. For Olivia app, yung app po ba ito is like a bookkeeper listing all the personal and business expenses. Right. That's a good question, Elena. So the Olivia app is, yes, like your bookkeeper. What happens is that isa-scan mo yung receipts or i-dictate mo yung expenses mo and i-record na niya yun sa app. And then once na-record mo na lahat, na-capture na lahat ng receipts, you can export that that report to your email, and then pag binuksan mo, naka-Excel spreadsheet na siya. Okay? And that's what eventually we'll be able to do with Taxumo. Yung Excel spreadsheet mo na yon, upload mo na lang sa Taxumo interface. So personal and business expenses, actually it's more for business expenses. Yung app, the Android version, meron personal, but yung iOS namin is really more business. So to be clear, para hindi confusing, it's really more for business expenses. And there kasi it captures all the receipt information, and then at the end meron siyang remarks. So you can put there also kung meron kang 3 clients, you can say for client number 1, client number 2, and then you can later on you can sort it. So it allows you to have better clarity on your finances for your business or your side gig. Thank you, Elena.
Okay.
Any other?
There. I think this is the last question. I resigned po sa corpo job ko ng May, then full-time VA na rin ako nung May, no? So after I resigned. Dahil bago pa lang po ako, kasi ako, and not sure sa process, kailan po ba mas safe to register yung business ko? I think you have to register na now, no? May, what is today? July. So yeah, you can register. You should actually you should register na actually now, no? If you need help, well, we'll send you this deck, no? And another thing, you can also email customercare@taxumo.com so that we can now endorse you to like our partner processors. So it really depends kasi to tell you honestly, registration is still a very manual process. So that's why we have partners who can go out and who can basically like register your business, no? In your case, the first thing that you need to do, Jevi, is get your occupational tax receipt and a barangay permit from your barangay, because that one requires, normally it requires personal appearance if you're practicing a profession. So normally this is where they vet if you are a real person and a real business or profession, no, or professional. So you have to get that OTR, occupational tax receipt, and barangay clearance. Once you have that, there are other documents but that you need to collect, like birth certificate, all of these forms, no, which the processor will hand over to you naman to fill out. And then you can have Taxumo partners already process it for you. If not, you can also do it yourself. No, if you're near naman, or you have time to go. The BIR offices are open naman for registration pa rin.
Okay,
There.
great. And yeah, Jevi, if you have more questions, you can either reach out to us or reach out to Taxumo directly.
Mhm.
Okay, I think that's our last question about. I guess Elena, when she was talking about 8%, okay, it's not really a question. Okay, great. So I think,
Thanks.
well, it was really been a really great session. I know we went over time because
Yeah.
it's super interesting, and your what you shared is really super practical. The examples I think really help. And although there's a lot of terminology, and tax can be very complicated, I think he really simplified it for us without being simplistic. And essentially, yeah, I mean, everything is in the Taxumo platform. All we need to do is really just put in our income and expenses and your system. You don't have minions naman in the background doing that, right? It's really your algorithms, your AI that's doing all of that.
Wala, we don't even have access to their accounts, no. So if there are changes that need to be done, it's really you as the taxpayer who does it, no. So we guide
Right.
you like how to go through the system, but obviously for privacy reasons we cannot change anything for sa account ninyo. So it's just really you talaga.
That's
Thank
true.
you, Jocs. Thank you for inviting me then to share.
Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to our future partnerships. And I guess we will make some announcements in the coming weeks or months regarding future developments. But in the meantime, yes, we'll be sharing what snippets of what we shared today. So we either as posters or as PDF files to our attendees. And yeah, I think I think 2020 and 2021 has been really challenging, and services and apps like, I think that's what inspired us also, and what has inspired Taxumo to really support small businesses so that we don't have that many people to really do all these things for us, and it really helps us focus on what we want to do or what we want to do best, which is running our business and running our side jobs. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming
Thanks,
today.
everyone.
I know it's been probably difficult with internet connectivity issues and probably, calamities, but thank you for coming over. And I think we will replay some parts of these and post it on our Facebook and other social media.
All right. Thank you, Jocs. Thank you,
Thank
Olivia.
you, and have a good rest of the weekend, everyone. Bye.
Bye.